What's going on, Show Nation? It's Movie with Movie Gaming TV, and in today's video, I wanted to talk to you guys about moments, and I wanted to talk to you guys about Conquest. So, if you're a really good player out there, I apologize. This video is more tailored to people that have just picked up the game, that are doing some offline grinding, no money spent people. This is really going to be a tutorial for you. But if you are a better player, stick around for the video. We're going to talk about just moments and Conquest. So let's start off with moments. And I basically have done every moment in this game for the most part. There's a very small amount of moments that I have not completed. And so we're going to go through these moments today, and we're going to talk about which are the best ones to do. The one that I recommend that you do more than probably any other one is doing the evolution for Jackie Robinson. And the reason that I recommend that you do this one and complete all of his stuff, it takes a little bit of time to complete, but I recommend that you complete all the stages of Jackie Robinson. If you go to his player program, it isn't so much, even actually, you don't even have to go all the way to complete it, but at the very least, let's see, we go to Jackie Robinson. At the very least, you're going to want to get this back grip. You're going to want to get these socks from this. If you go down the line, you do get some good rewards as you go along. You can get a good Jackie Robinson. I'm not huge on this card. My team, though, is pretty stacked. So this card, I don't use this card, but it's not a bad card that you can pick up for free. You can get some good rewards if you go all the way through it. But you're really going to want to pick up this back grip and these socks for your creative player. That's like one of the things that you're going to want to do. For creative players, I recommend that you make a balanced shortstop. We'll talk about that a little bit more later on how to level him up to get him to an 89. Now, you guys can see my shortstop is my creative player. He ends up getting like over 100 power, has diamond defense with a diamond arm. He has good contact as well, and you can customize a swing for him. If you don't make a balanced shortstop, you could always make like a power hitting catcher or a balanced second baseman. That's really the route I recommend that you go, one of those spots, so that you don't have to worry about filling that spot with the player, and you're going to get one of the best players in the game if you just put in a little bit of effort, get him some decent equipment. But the Jackie Robinson program is going to knock out the back grip and knock out the socks. Those are it's like the best back grip and best socks that you can get, and they're both free. So I really recommend doing that one. As far as the Lefty Grove one, I haven't done this one because this one's actually just kind of a pain in the rear. Don't really recommend doing this one, but I do recommend doing this one if you need program stars for the 5th inning program, because you will get a decent amount, and you definitely 100% want to get to this pack so you can get one of these cards to either sell to help your team getting towards collections. And all three of these cards are very good in the game, especially Larry Walker, and then especially Rivera as well, and Ortiz is pretty dang good too. So if you do the Lefty Grove, it's going to go towards that. The moments for Mark Reynolds are pretty easy, pretty fun to do, not difficult. Recommend that you do the Reynolds program. As far as team affinity, I recommend that you do every single stage that you can. I don't know if you're at stage 1, stage 2, or stage 3. All these are pretty easy to do for the most part. Lots of them are pretty quick missions, and I recommend that you knock these out. They'll give you points towards team affinity plus a little bit of stubs. Plus, once you finish all of them, you get 15,000 XP and 5,000 stubs. Same with the other two. Stage 1 through 3, there's a ton of moments in here, but it's another really good thing to do. It'll give you a bunch of points towards stage 3. 40,000 XP, 10,000 stubs, and you get a Ballin' as a Habit pack bundle. It takes a little while to go through. There's a couple tricky ones along the way. Most of them are easy, but there are a couple tricky ones along the way where, you got to hit a home run with a guy that doesn't have a lot of power. That can be a little bit tricky. That can be a little bit time consuming. You either got a power swing or just eventually you'll run into one. and hit it out. Like I think like Pudge Rodriguez was a tougher one. There's just some ones that when you have to hit with power with a guy that only has like 60 power, it takes a little bit to get the home run. So just persevere through those. Another really tough one, I'm not sure exactly where it is, but it's like a King Felix one where you have to throw anytime you like can't give up a hit for 3 innings. That's pretty tough as well. So that one was a little bit difficult, as I remember. Let's see. I'm not sure exactly where it is right now. Let's see if those are Yankees, Biggio. Anyways, but there is one for King Felix that was a little bit difficult. Well, you really want to focus on completing all of these. These are good missions to do. Get some good bonus rewards at the end. Highly recommend those. The evolution, if you want to add some cards to your team, you know, you can add like a Diamond Carlos Gonzalez, Dennis Eckersley. A little bit more difficult to do, but I recommend doing this one because he is a solid bullpen piece. Eddie Matthews has some good pop. I think you could skip this Pudge Rodriguez one if you really want to. Not the greatest of rewards. He's not that great of a catcher. I think you could skip this one. Eddie Matthews, if you want him on your team, pretty good hitter. Dennis Eckersley, definitely a good one to do. Carlos Gonzalez, pretty good hitter, but I think if you're going to skip anything, these missions were actually pretty easy. I actually recommend that you do these because I don't know, I felt like you can cruise through this one and get it done pretty easily. I think the Pudge one was actually kind of difficult because there's a couple tricky missions in there. There's usually like one tricky mission out of all of them, but that one was pretty difficult. Now, the monthly rewards, you don't even have to complete all of these to get the monthly reward. In total, you can do a little bit of exchanging, but at the end of the day, you're going to pick up some very, very good cards as far as like, you know, the monthly award programs go. You know, you can pick up a Didi Gregorius that a lot of people do use online. He's got a lot of good hitting stats for a shortstop, completely free. You just have to go through those moments and complete them. Same with the Carlos Correa. You know, you can get 101, 96, 99, 84 with him. And he's pretty good as well. Has a lot of arm strength. See this card a lot online too. Get him completely for free. And you can prestige all 3 of these cards. The last one is Cody Bellinger. Another solid one. 83, 90, 108, 105. 55 vision. So he has really, really good defense too. He can play in the outfield or he can play at first base. And all 3 of these cards, you can hop into events, you can hop into ranked seasons. Anywhere you play online, you can start building up their prestige stats to get them prestige and make them a little bit better. And you don't have to really worry about collecting them or anything. Excuse me, because they're already no sell as it is. So they're good cards to prestige. You can get them prestige to add like a nice piece on your team by playing through events. Let's talk about some of these other moments as well. So monthly awards definitely do. The Players League tournament ones, I don't think these are very hard at all. Knock them out. Shouldn't have any problem with them. Just go ahead and get through them. Worth it to do for sure because you're going to be able to get some cards that you can sell out of that. We're going to look at, I think it's a Blake Snell player program that's connected to this. Let me see if I can find that. Let's see, Blake Snell right here. Yeah, so I never completed this one because I did not want to lock in these cards. I just wanted to sell them. You get a 2 quarterfinal packs. These cards go for about 5,000 each, a little bit over that. And then you get the semifinals pack. These cards go, they might be down a little bit, but they go for 15 to 12,000. So that's a nice boost. I wouldn't recommend locking in the Blake Snell, or there's basically a collection that you can do to lock in 6 of these. I wouldn't recommend that you do that. I recommend that you just go through those moments and then sell those cards because that's 10 and probably 25,000 stubs right there for you. Definitely recommend doing those moments. It's a very good use of your time. The 4th inning ones, the Father's Day, pretty easy for the most part. The only one that's tricky is actually this first one where you got to get a hit with Tony Gwynn Jr. also. If you don't get a hit with Tony Gwynn, make sure you restart. And then, because if you don't, you got to get a hit with both of them. So That was the only one that was pretty difficult out of those. If you can get through that one, you'll be fine. The Wagner program, pretty easy as well. To be honest with you, Vizquel, pretty easy as well. So all three of those are pretty easy. Dawson, pretty easy one to do. I recommend doing this one. The Keith Hernandez one is a lot more tricky. He just does not have a lot of power, and there's a lot of times when you got to get like a lot of total bases. I would say, I mean, if you are at the very end of what you have to do and you're running out of stuff to do and you just want something to do, go for it. You get the Keith Hernandez card. You get a Dawson card also, but he's not very good. He's okay, but he's got pretty easy missions. The Keith Hernandez one, I really don't recommend that you do. You can skip that one. Posada, pretty easy to do. Honestly, these two are a little bit more tricky. I actually found the Gibson ones pretty easy to do. It's basically, this is the most difficult one, is striking out 4 batters and tallying 1 hit. If you don't tally the hit and you're at bat, make sure that you restart the mission. Do not keep pitching past that part. You know, make sure you get the hit. Once you get the hit in that first at bat, then you're good to go. But restart other than that. And I'd also like to say, like, if you guys are having trouble getting strikeouts, usually a combo I use against the computer is I throw like 2 up and in fastballs, and then I throw a slider away. You can also listen to the catcher. The catcher will put up his glove and tell you like kind of what pitch to call. But the fastball is up, and then the slider away. They chase that slider away on 0-2 a lot, especially on these lower difficulties. So keep that in mind. The Al Kaline one is a little bit tricky also. Don't really recommend this one. Just because it's a little bit tricky. There's I think it's one with like maybe 2 home runs, like this one. This one you can go through a couple times without completing it. So it's definitely a little bit tricky. At the end of the day, you're not going to get that great of a card. Don't really recommend that one. Posada though, I definitely do. Let's go to the first inning program, players tournament. Pretty easy. Why not? I think all of these were very, very easy. You go through that. Wood program, pretty easy as well. Not really too much you have to do here. Anytime you have short pitcher mode, like the hitting missions are more fun, but the short pitcher missions, and you know, when you only have to pitch like 1 or 2 innings, that type of deal, these are actually, you're actually going to have a pretty high rate of success with these, in my opinion. The ones that are tough when it comes to pitching is like, you got to pitch like 8 or 9 innings at a time. Those are very difficult, which makes me think, I'll say really quickly too, the Granderson program, definitely do that. Pretty good card, actually, as well, for a budget squad type of deal. He's got a lot of pop, but also, these are pretty easy missions to complete. But I want to go back to the monthly awards. Like, the hitting ones for Zunino, easy. Aguilar, easy. The pitching ones can be a little bit tricky. I would recommend doing like a couple and doing the exchange on the pitching ones. Go back to the pitching ones later on, especially like some of these Alex Woods ones. And these are the ones I'm talking about, like 5, 6 innings, 7 innings. Do not give up 1 run. Those are a little bit more tricky because they can be more frustrating because you got to pitch like 7 innings and just 1 run can derail the whole thing. So it takes a long time, especially like the Corbin ones, like the 9 innings, strike out 8 batters, do not give up 1 run. Those are the tricky ones that I'm not a big fan of. And you guys can see with Lefty Grove, what do we have here? We have pitched 9 innings once, and we have pitched 9 innings twice. So not a huge fan of that. That's kind of why I just like, you know, I wanted to make this video because I've pretty much hit the point where I've done pretty much everything. I think it was a good time to talk about it. So the moments for this, you get a Mariano Rivera nameplate. These are all very simple, all on rookie. Definitely knock those out. I mean, they're easy to complete. Go ahead and knock those out. Not difficult at all. The creative player, I think, is one that a lot of people don't do, but for the most part, they are pretty easy. I haven't finished all of these. There was one kind of tricky one in here. I believe it was with Pete Alonso where you got to hit 3 home runs in 2 games. That one was actually a little bit tricky, but for the most part, these are pretty easy also. You can kind of just cruise through them. And just if you do them for every position, you get a decent amount. Almost 5,000 XP, like about 1,000 stubs per pop. You can knock through all of them relatively quickly. They got 1 6-inning pitching one in here. Do not give up 2 runs with Zach Greinke. But knocking out those is a good use of your time as well. Now, the Conquest maps. I love doing the Conquest maps personally. The starter one, extremely easy to do. This one is the one that you might not want to do the entire map. It takes a while to complete the entire map. But we talked about the creative player earlier. We talked about the creative player, and you got to get you got to do some missions for him. You got to get some innings, either the offline innings or online innings and hits and online hits. You can knock out a bunch of these innings by doing the missions, by doing the conquest, I should say, of the big map. Because especially if you have a pitcher, it's a great spot for them because you can just pitch with them every single game. But really, if you got the the balanced shortstop, you're gonna play a bunch of innings against the computer, knock out a bunch of progress, probably get them to like an 85 overall or so. If you've done the moment, so let's say you do all those creative player shortstop moments, then you do this entire conquest map, with the shortstop. You're going to have like the 85 shortstop by that point in time, just based off the innings, and probably getting pretty close on the hits to doing that. So that's kind of what I recommend the big map for. You can get a 92 Willie Mays. He's not that great. You also can get an 87 Frank Thomas, who actually isn't that bad. First inning, these are pretty easy. Knock them out. There's always free packs on the board too. So make sure that you take care of those. Second inning, same thing, pretty easy. Knock this out. Make sure that you get, make sure you get the free packs from this as well. Stealing 2 million fans, pretty easy. All these are pretty easy, and the boards, they always have a lot of hidden packs, so you can make, you can hit really big on one of the packs type of deal. So make sure you do that. Mother's Day, again, pretty easy. I love Conquest. Look up on YouTube how to do Conquest, how to stack it up. You can play pretty much all of these games on Rookie for the most part. Some of them you might have to play on Veteran or All-Star, but that's not too bad. You'll still be able to play pretty well on those. Mother's Day, knocked that out. Fourth inning, knocked that out. World's Best Dad, knocked that out. Fifth inning, knocked that out. And fifth inning symbols, knocked this one out as well. All pretty easy. All gonna have a lot of free packs on there. So I guess at the end of the day, a lot of these moments are worth doing. I would recommend doing most of them. There's a couple of them that you can skip. I'll go through the ones basically again that I recommend that you skip. I would skip Lefty Grove unless you need program stars to get to the 300 stars. I would skip that. I would skip Pudge Rodriguez. I think out of these, I would skip Pudge Rodriguez. I'd do the rest of those. Out of the monthly awards, just don't do more than you need to with Chase Anderson. Don't do more than you need to with with Alex Wood. Glass now the same way. Don't do more than you need to. You can go back and finish some later if you need stuff to do, but don't really recommend that you do these Glass now ones or just any of the longer pitching ones. Especially what is the Corbin one in there too? Yeah, I'd kind of avoid that as best as you can. See if you can do an exchange. See if you can do some of the other missions that pop up. Fourth inning, do all those. Third inning, skip Keith Hernandez. Second inning, skip Gibson, skip K-Line. First inning, do all these, and then do all those, and do all of these. So I hope this gives you guys kind of a comprehensive guide about moments and which ones you should do. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, have a great day. Peace.